What kind of art sells for the most money? This is a question I get asked, and it's also something that I've explored myself over the years. I remember being at art school and I loved working with inks. And I was around other students and professors that loved working in oils. And I used to hear all the time about this premium medium oil. And if you want to be an artist, oil is the way to go. And I remember desperately wanting to be an oil painter and investing loads of money in art materials, in oil paints, and really, really trying hard to be an oil painter. And it wasn't in me, it just was not ingrained in me. And I loved working with inks. But I do remember being in art school with this belief that now I'm not a real artist. I genuinely started to believe that. And if I want to go out into the art world and make a really good living and sell art for a premium amount, then ink is never going to do that. And so I started to deviate away from the medium, started to lose belief in what I could sell. And I want to talk about that in today's episode because I see people doing this within our community. I definitely see it around craft. I can see it around digital. There's lots of people who feel the fear around creating digital art with the belief that it's not a premium medium, that you can't sell it for a high price point. And the thing is, it really doesn't matter what medium you use. If you go out and start looking in galleries, in art fairs, at all the different types of artists there are in the world, you will find people using completely different mediums, and you'll see the price points that people are selling at. It's not just oils that demand a premium price point. So you can make art in any material that you like, because that is not what is important. What is important is developing skill in the medium that you choose. One and foremost is that it's when you really discover what it is that lights you up, what fires your passion, and you start to get excited about using that material and you start to push that material in different ways. That's when your uniqueness comes through as an artist. So I remember for a long time I was exploring acrylic, and I was exploring acrylic paint and what I could do with it. Now, there's loads of people using acrylic paint, but the more I spent about 3 years exploring that medium and how I could use it as a three-dimensional material, not just as paint. And I remember I started to make these sculptures out of acrylic, and it just shows when you start to hone in on whatever it is that you're fired up about. And it doesn't mean you have to use the one material and stay with that forever, but I'm just using this as an example of when you start to use a material, a medium, a paint, or whatever it is, and you keep practicing and practicing and practicing and developing your voice, it's that makes you stand out from everybody else. So it doesn't really matter about what medium it is. The value comes from the work that you've put in to use that material and do something with it. And so that's the first thing I would say is whatever lights you up as an artist and what gets you excited, whether that's coffee, bananas, paint, acrylic, collage, digital, that is what's going to sell, because people sell things that are unique and that have passion and that make people feel something. So the first thing is you have to be excited and really into the material that you're using. Don't choose something just because you think it will sell. So that's one part of the equation. The other part is an artwork is only worth what someone is willing to pay. So the more you create desire for your artwork, the more you get behind, and passionate about it yourself, and you start to share that artwork and get feedback from people and share that and get people talking about it, and you're talking about it and you're showing people the purpose of your work. There's lots of things that you can do to create desire. So when people first start out, you usually charge a price for art that, isn't in the thousands and thousands. It's a moderate price that you would start with. And that's what most people do, not everyone. And from there, you take that into the world and you start to create desire for what you have. That's sharing it on social media, getting that first sale, sharing why someone bought it, sharing the purpose, showing it up on the wall, going out to people, asking, would you like to share my artwork? And what happens when you start to get behind the work is you will start to create desire. And so the more demand you have for your artwork, the more the price goes up. So that's what you're wanting to aim for, is to create more and more desire for what you have, so that the price goes up and up and up. Because when something goes up in price, when we have demand for something, it goes up in price. So, for example, if you sell out all of your shows, it's time to put your pricing up. And that's supply and demand and economics and all business stuff that I just like go there. But it's basic basic business. Demand goes up, price goes up. And so that's always what you're wanting to do. And there's so many things that you can do to create more desire for your artwork. But in the past, I have seen artists throughout the years work in coffee. I've even known artists take the fluff out of the tumble dryer and make amazing, incredible artwork, recycling, is it the lint that comes out of a tumble dryer, the grey fluffy stuff? And they've sold that artwork for a lot of money. And so another example is my lecturer. I'll never forget this. At university, my lecturer sold the concept of a Pritt stick stuck to the wall through a metal rod. A Pritt stick in the UK is a glue stick, for anyone else around the world that's not heard of a Pritt stick. So he sold the concept for thousands. So the medium and the material that you use really is irrelevant. And so when people first start out, it's normal to try different things, and it's normal to look at what other people are doing and be inspired by what other people are doing and try those things, but never deviating from what it is that you really, really want to do, what really excites you, what medium excites you. Don't get in your own head thinking, oh, digital's never going to sell, ink is never going to sell, it's not seen as a medium. Which brings me then to context, because every kind of place has a context. So, for example, there will be some galleries in the world that perceive oil as a premium medium. 100% there will be. And that means that their customers will pay a higher price for an oil painting because that's their perception. They want an oil. That's what they want, they desire. And so, yes, there will be places that will not even entertain having an ink artwork in their gallery. They just want oils, and they want people that are established in that sense. But that doesn't mean that view is valid for the rest of the world. It's one place, one gallery. And I share this because, again, I see people getting derailed by somebody's opinion. It could be 1 to 5 people's opinion who work in this gallery. And then they leave there thinking that means the whole world is thinking like that. So I now need to change my artwork. And that's just one context. If you go somewhere else into a different gallery, they might not like oil painting there because they might not have the type of customer that likes oil. Maybe their customers like collage and digital and different newer ways of working. So there are pockets of people and places all over the world. And so it is about finding that place for your work, creating the desire for your work. That is the kind of thing that is going to push the price up, not the type of medium that you're using. Completely irrelevant. So finding the right place, creating that desire. And also one thing that I have loved doing over the years is looking at a particular type of artist. And a friend of mine, Sharon, who is a sculptor, did this a few years ago. Her work was priced for a few hundred. I think it was £200. And I remember Sharon was selling at that price point and really wanted to get up into the thousands and just couldn't figure out how to get there. She was going to all these art fairs and not selling anything and kind of selling at this price point occasionally. And so what Sharon did was asked herself, okay, if I want to sell my work for £1,000, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to the work? Where do I need to put it? And so she started to look at other artists, other sculptors who were selling their work at that price range and really questioning and being curious, where are they putting it? Who are these people speaking to? Where are they selling? Who are they selling to? What is their work like? Why is their work different to mine? And I remember Sharon and I going backwards and forwards talking about this, and Sharon researching and saying, I found this other artist, they're selling for this amount. And I've noticed this about them, that they were putting their work into particular places, particular galleries, and they were part of associations, and they had a much more professional look, a website and things like that. So Sharon started to take those steps and started to push herself out there and have conversations with people, and then found the right place, and then ended up putting the work up to the thousands. And then once it was selling in the thousands, I remember the top price of one of her pieces was around £1,500. So then Sharon was asking herself, well, how can I push it up now to the next level? How can I make something that's £5,000? What do I need to do? And started that process again and started looking at different mediums. So this is now where it was relevant to the medium being more superior. So we're talking about context now, because within the context of Sharon's work, working in clay, Sharon was putting her work in different places. And then if she turned one of her pieces into a different material, such as bronze, sorry, not brass, bronze, then that would elevate the cost because it costs more. So sometimes the medium and the materials do reflect the cost because they cost more, for example. So if you're using bronze or if you're using premium materials, of course that will impact the cost, but it's not the only factor. And it really doesn't matter if it's coffee that you use. You could still sell an artwork for £10,000 using coffee. So it doesn't have to be that the material cost you a lot of money and that's why you price it at a lot of money. That coffee artwork has passion behind it. They've created desire. They've got it in front of the right people. They've got something here that other people want, and they've hit the sweet spot. And that's how they sell at that price point. So to recap, the main important part is that you are passionate about using the medium that you are using. Don't just deviate and use something else because you think that it's going to sell for that amount of money. And especially if it doesn't really light you up. It's okay to look at other people and be inspired and think, oh, that seems to be working well. How could I incorporate that into my work? And if it still feels good, then go for it. But if you're doing it out of the need to sell and it's taking away from your excitement, then don't do it. The next part is getting the work in the right place. Really considering and asking questions and looking around, and where do I need to put this work? And that sometimes is trial and error at the beginning. It's about getting out there. And we have lots of resources to help with fine-tuning where to put your work and who to get it in front of. Ask yourself, if I want to sell at this price point, what do I need to do? Do I need to adapt the work in some way? Do I need to develop my skills in a certain area? Do I need to push this into a certain place? And if I want it in a certain place, what do I need to do to get into that place? It's about asking the right questions with a real open mind about the possibilities out there, being really curious. What do I need to do to get my work at this price point? And remembering that if you want to increase price, you need to increase demand. What can you do to create more demand for your artwork? Sometimes it's simple things like talking more about your artwork, sharing it with people, sharing quotes of things that people have said, showing the work in context. What is the purpose of your work? If I buy it, what do I do with it? Talking to people, sharing it and saying, I really want to get this out into the world. Do you have any ideas? It's kind of hard at the beginning because you have to do a lot of work to push it out there, but there is so much you can do to increase demand of your artwork. And actually, the more you enjoy the whole process, the more you get confident about what you're doing as well. So the more confidence you have in your work and in yourself, that also sells. People feed off that confidence that you have about yourself. That in itself sells when you're enthusiastic about your work and the way you've produced it. So there we go. I wish I could have an answer that, yeah, go and work in this medium and you'll earn loads and loads of money, but it doesn't work like that. So I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Let us know on social media what you think and what you've seen out in the world as well. And I'll be back next week for some more Motivational Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.